Morning, Ed. Here we are in COP28. Just wanted to ask, what are your initial impressions of COP28?
I think probably my first impression is that this is actually really well organised for all of the question marks about the location of this COP. Actually, I think things have been incredibly well organised. Lots of queuing. I guess as a Brit that's quite familiar, and queuing in very hot conditions. But generally, I think it's been really well organised. I think the second thing is that it's been amazing to meet different people from all over the world. I had a discussion in the queue this morning with someone from the Ministry of Climate in Venezuela, who we got interested in talking about e-cooking this morning. And then yesterday I was involved in sessions with 3 different presidents actually. So there was President of South Africa and Tanzania in one meeting, and the President of Nigeria in another. So yeah, really kind of high level stuff and really interesting. And I guess the final thing is, all the sessions I've been in, even those not directly on cooking, lots of people are talking about electric cooking, so it's amazing to see.
I mean, I know it's quite early in the conference, but any initial takeaways or key findings from some of the sessions you've been to?
I think the most interesting thing thus far for me actually was a really nice surprise. So I got an invitation to go to a closed meeting which was launching a new initiative led by the President of Tanzania, which is is advocating for clean cooking, to put it right at the high level of political agendas. Fantastic to see this led by the Tanzanian President. There were lots of really high level people in the room. That was the meeting that the South African President turned up to as well. There was high level engagement from the AFDB, from IEA and so on. And but I think the really amazing thing is, I thought this was an initiative kind of simply from the Tanzanian government, but actually it's come about through a project that has been run by a women's organisation, a grassroots organisation, engaging with the government over the importance of clean cooking. And I hadn't even realised this is something we funded under the Gender and Energy Innovation Fund, which is something that we developed alongside Energia and NDEV. So, and as NDEV, as part of the GeCCo coalition, it's just an example of where we're already working together really effectively. So that was, I think, probably the highlight so far was that.
Yeah. And so today, what are you up to today?
Well, I'm sitting having a coffee with you, having got into your first COP ever, Richard, which is great. And maybe we'll do one of these on you when you've been to some of the sessions. But I think this afternoon, so we have a planning meeting for the GeCCo launch on the 5th. Then a little later on, I'm speaking in a session looking at cooking in institutions, particularly schools. How do we make that more sustainable and actually affordable for the schools? And then I've just been invited to participate in a session on the civil society advocacy for clean cooking that's being held in the Togo Pavilion later on. And actually our colleagues in the Access Coalition, who we work with very closely through the Steer Centre at Loughborough, are also speaking in that session. So that'll be really nice to be working really closely with our partners. And then finally this evening there's a session, a kind of primer on the latest in carbon finance and climate finance that's being led by the Green Climate Fund. So I want to find out a little bit more about that and to raise the profile for the electric cooking in the climate finance world. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's amazing to be here for Loughborough and for the Steer Centre and for MEX and for GeCCo, so many different hats on, but it's already been really quite phenomenal, and looking forward to it becoming even more exciting over the course of the coming days.
Thanks, Ed. And I think just the sheer number of events shows how far electric cooking has come. Yeah. All right.